On the 98th floor of the Nightmare Tower, a bloody young man lies on the cracked, molten ground. Everything about him says one thing: they fought and they lost. Jae-hwan, our main character, lies half-buried beneath shattered stone, barely clinging to life as he wonders, where did it all go so wrong? Back into the past on the 85th floor, a severed arm crashed to the ground. Our heroes face the guardian of the 85th floor, Byung-gui, the hand of the tower, in a brutal clash. Yoon-hwan, our main character's closest friend, charges forward shouting Jae-hwan's name. Jae-hwan leaps into the air and together, the two prepare to unleash a combined attack. Jae-hwan's grip tightens around his sword, aiming straight for the monster's core as he screams for it to die. In perfect sync, their blades strike as one, and the monster's body is cut into countless pieces. The 85th floor guardian falls. With the guardian defeated, Jae-hwan scans the battlefield, wondering if anyone had fallen. Yoon-hwan steps beside him with a relieved smile, assuring him that no one died, and that with a bit of rest, everyone will be fine. Nearby, the rest of the team gathers, tending to their wounds and smiling as they wave toward our heroes. They both wave back, and Yoon-hwan remarks that with a group like this, they might actually reach the final floor. Resting on the cold stone floor, Jae-hwan notices something: a sword, the reward for defeating the 85th floor guardian. Worm's Bane, a blade forged over 1,000 days and nights by Byung-gui himself, crafted to slay a dragon. Jae-hwan tests the blade's weight and balance, nodding in approval. This sword is better than anything he's ever held. With a faint smile, he looks at the sword as a thought surfaces. Yoon-hwan, with this, like you said, we might really reach the final floor. He could not have been more wrong. Back in the present, on the 98th floor, the Chamber of Hellfire, Jae-hwan now stands face to face with the 98th floor guardian, Giltikus. Amid the scorched battlefield, the party lies defeated. Their weapons and armor have melted under Giltikus's hellfire. The walkers' bodies lie burned and mutilated across the ground. In a moment of disbelief, Jae-hwan freezes just long enough for Giltikus to strike. The guardian fist slams into Jae-hwan's face. The blow sends Jae-hwan through the air before he slams into the wall, shattering it beneath him. Blood spills from our hero mouth, his vision blurs, and for a second his consciousness slips as fragments of memory begin to surface. He remembers the days he spent climbing the tower, the laughter, struggles, and victories he shared with the other walkers who fought beside him. As his senses slowly return, Jae-hwan forces his eyes open. Before him, Giltikus draws infernal energy, its molten chest swelling with blazing fire as it prepares for the next attack. Jae-hwan's eye locks onto the behemoth's burning jaws, and he thinks, is this what it was all for? A pathetic death like this. Just then, in a flash of motion, Yoon-hwan appears high above, descending from behind the monster. His expression sharpens as he raises his blade, preparing a decisive strike. With a fierce swing, Yoon-hwan slashes down onto the behemoth's back, disrupting Giltikus's charged attack and forcing the monster to recoil. Yoon-hwan's rapid slashes carve into Giltikus's molten hide and tearing straight toward its blazing core. He yells toward Jae-hwan to snap out of it, but Jae-hwan can only stare as his friend fights with everything he has. Using the momentum of his last strike, Yoon-hwan lands briefly on the behemoth's back. Before the monster can react, he pushes off with force, launching himself back into the air for his next attack. Rushing into his next strike, Yoon-hwan's voice cracks with desperation as he screams that he can't finish this thing alone. Giltikus' burning eyes snap toward Yoon-hwan, fixated on him with murderous intent. And then, everything happens at once. Blood runs down the pale dagger, dripping steadily from its edge. Giltikus's jagged horn drives straight through Yoon-hwan's chest, piercing him cleanly, and his life is slipping away in an instant. Enraged and desperate, Jae-hwan can't help to scream his friend's name, but the nightmare is far from over. Giltikus suddenly turns and bolts across the battlefield at terrifying speed. Yoon-hwan, still impaled on its horn, dragged helplessly as the behemoth charges. The monster unleashes a malicious roar, lowering its head like a living battering ram, and with unstoppable force, Gilticus slams Yunhuan into the wall, its horn driving him through stone as the entire structure explodes. In shock at the sight before him, Ji-Huan stands frozen, staring ahead in utter disbelief. Rage floods through him, burning hotter than the flames around them. He forces his battered body back onto his feet, picks up Wormsbane from the floor, and charges straight toward the monster. Then, he sees it. A thin, white thread of light stretches into existence, forming a straight, luminous path between him and Gilticus. The thread of light links directly to the monster-damaged core, and our hero wonders, what could that light be? Deciding to trust the mysterious light, Ji-Huan dashes forward. His furious eyes lock onto the glowing path, pouring every last ounce of strength into his charge. The behemoth notices the sudden surge, its body twisting as it desperately tries to turn around. But it's too late. Ji-Huan erupts forward like a bolt of white lightning, driving a single, lethal thrust straight into Gilticus's exposed core. Black smoke rises through the shattered arena. The behemoth's severed core lies on the ground, split cleanly in two, and Gilticus's colossal body finally collapses, melting into its own lava blood. The guardian of the 98th floor has fallen. Out of breath, our hero turns around and tells Yunhuan that they have to go. Clutching his wound while blood still pours between his fingers, Yunhuan lies slumped against the broken wall, barely conscious, fighting just to stay alive. In his trembling hand rests a dim, extinguished regression stone. Ji-Huan stares in silent shock. His most trusted friend had hidden a regression stone, breaking the oath they made together. Fatally wounded, Yunhuan can only ask for forgiveness. For a moment, the world falls silent as the two lock eyes. A final, wordless exchange between comrades. Memories flood Ji-Huan's mind. The moment he first crossed paths with Yunhuan. He recalls every journey they shared, and how despite all the gloom and misery in this tower, he always had a smile on his face. That's why the walkers nickname him the Smiling Knight. And now, for the first time, the Smiling Knight has lost his smile. Ji-Huan is the first to break the silence. He turns his back and mutters, "Just go." Seeing Yunhuan's condition, and knowing the existence of the stone, Ji-Huan simply tells him to get out of there before his time runs out. No lecture, no resentment. He forces himself to turn away, carrying the painful certainty that this moment was the end of their journey together. And without another word, Ji-Huan walks away, leaving Yunhuan alone with his choice. Now alone, Yunhuan exhales and remarks, "So he noticed after all." He stares at the shattered regression stone in his shaking hand, stating the stone really is too pitiful. With what little strength remains, Yunhuan forces himself up the stairs. Blood smears across the walls and drips down each step behind him. Between coughs, he thinks, "Ji-Huan, you're stronger than I ever realized. That's why I know you'll make it." He reaches the top of the stairs and sinks down onto the window ledge, one hand pressed desperately against his fatal wound. With trembling breath, Yunhuan murmurs that he's glad the world still has someone it can rely on. He smiles one last time, and with his final breath he whispers, "Ji-Huan." Under a warm, golden sky and a gentle breeze drifting through the open arch, Yunhuan, the Smiling Knight, is no more. On the opposite side of the tower, Ji-Huan stands before the massive door leading to the next floor. As he reaches out, a lone leaf, carried all the way by the last warm breeze, lands softly on his hand. In that brief touch, like a quiet miracle, he feels Yunhuan's final emotions wash over him. Ji-Huan whispers to himself that he can't stop here. He has to keep going. He pushes the door open, and a blinding, pale light floods the room. A freezing gust rushes in, colder than anything he's ever felt. With a mix of awe and disbelief, Ji-Huan mutters, "Snow?" And so begins the 99th floor of the Nightmare Tower.